preseason, it was said that Salt Lake is a tough place to win. Well, the Hornets have proven everybody wrong in that regard, especially at home, where they are one of the last two standing home unbeatens in the league. 5-0 in the friendly confines and 9-2 overall. They sit as the number one seed in the Western Conference. As the playoffs approach, the Fresno Bobcats find themselves looking up at a tough division behind both the Wildcats and the Aztecs at 6-5 and are trying to rebound from a tough loss last time out on Primetime, getting thumped by Austin 37-22. It's the Salt Lake Hornets and the Fresno Bobcats as we start Primetime right here on the Virtual Football Network. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Tuillo. I've got the company of Ramos Lynn in commentary. Kevin Irvine pushing all the buttons, making sure everything comes to you in sound and vision. Ramos going to be a good one tonight. Salt Lake, a top offense. Fresno, a top defense. It's a good matchup on the West Coast.
Yeah, it sure is. And it's going to be interesting to see who can dominate the trenches first. If it's going to be Fresno or Salt Lake. I think that's been one of the biggest contributions that Salt Lake has had in this very good season they've had so far.
First handoff goes to Cardiac Squid, one of the top running backs in the UFL. As we meet that Fresno offense, Squid, of course, the name to watch. Also quarterback Larry Randolph, wide receivers Freddie Spencer, Dylan Bynum, tight end Antoine Hurd, and the rest in purple, navy, and white. Cardiac Squid leads the league in rushing. He'll get the carry again. Push forward for maybe one more, bringing up 3rd down and 5 as we meet the mighty Salt Lake defense. Victor Ironleg, Jan Lopez, DeQuavius Locke, Don Mariano, all names to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Salt Lake, I mean, it's been a great defensive unit so far. Also, the special teams have been really good. They've had field goal blocks, returns for touchdowns, pick sixes. They've been very, very good so far.
Deep shot on 3rd down in double coverage, incomplete. Freddie Spencer was the target, but a 3-and-out for Fresno in their opening possession. And they're going to have an uphill battle if Cardiac Squid can't get going. He is most of their offense, one of only 2 players in the UFL to this point with over 1,200 yards of rushing.
Yeah, and it's a great stand here for Salt Lake. They understood the assignment, 2 players covering that go route, and quickly Fresno will go 3-and-out.
Punting for the Bobcats, Max Boyd back near his own 15-yard line. Going to be decent field position for Salt Lake, and the black helmets, all yellow, everything else, but great special teams coverage down the field. And that'll put the Hornets inside their own 25. Now it's Jay Carter and the Salt Lake offense. Carter under center. He'll hand off to Chris Allure on 1st down. Allure bounces off a tackle and gets a couple yards. And this Salt Lake offense is deadly. Jay Carter, Chris Allure, Alex West, DJ Barker, Noah Neely, Adam West, Liam Pangori, Skippy Curtis, all on this offense as names to watch. Strong formation with the fullback off to the right. They'll run it weak side up the middle, and almost picking up a 1st down is Chris Allure. It'll bring up 3rd down and inches. This Salt Lake team, not the best at running the football.
No, but they're doing a really good job so far here in the first couple of plays.
140 yards per game on the ground, and there he goes. Handoff inside trap. And Chris Allure goes for 27 yards on that one. Brings himself up to 37 overall on this first drive.
And I was just saying, it's going to be interesting to see which team dominates the line of scrimmage first. And it's been Salt Lake, because that was a huge run of the left-hand side. Good blocking by the tight end underneath, and just the safety needs to make the tackle to prevent the touchdown from happening. But really good start here for Salt Lake, offensively and defensively.
And with the fortress that this Salt Lake home field has been, as there's the first pass wide open. Jay Carter down to the 20-yard line. Noah Neely puts the Hornets in the red zone immediately. And a finish by Point Ramos. Because Salt Lake's been so good at home, you feel if Fresno gets down early, it may get early quick here for the Bobcats.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that case, the Bobcats send a couple of guys on a blitz. Nobody gets home. And, you know, when you're blitzing and trying to pressure with 6 players, nobody gets home. Then you have one-on-ones all over the place. And, you know, Salt Lake able to find the open guy.
Handoff. That's the second halfback. Lakeem Hopkins still with the offensive line's push, enough to get near the 15. Let's meet the Fresno Bobcats defense. Big player to watch, Brooke O'Neal, the strong safety. But other key names include Josh McComas, Derek Brewer, and Cameron Mills. That was Brooke O'Neal earlier on in the drive that made that touchdown-saving tackle. Carter once again under center. Play action this time. Plenty of time. Now he'll take off and run. Gets his seam inside the 10. Lowers the shoulder all the way to the 1-yard line. And Salt Lake is in business.
Yeah, it's going to be first and goal at the 1. They will have 3 shots to get to the end zone. Or 4 if they want to. I would just keep it on the ground. You know, you're at the 1-yard line, at least on first and second and goal. Keep it on the ground. I mean, the offensive line is doing wonders. You see the pylon cam. It's going to be about a yard shy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jay Carter, not the biggest rusher in the world. Just 23 carries previously to the season. Only 8.6 yards a game on the ground. And now he's going to set up Allure. Hand off Allure. Rolling over a defender. Didn't get there.
Maybe got half a yard. Let's try it again. You know, get a fullback in there. And they tried with a couple of tight ends. They're going to try the same thing.
Single back again. Allure follows the offensive line. And Chris Allure scores the first touchdown for Salt Lake. They're up 6-0 early.
Yeah, great blocking. I mean, nobody was able to get penetration at all. Actually, a couple of offensive linemen well into the end zone blocking, so that's exactly what you want to see from your O-line. And an awesome start for the Salt Lake offense.
Mia Pangoria, good block. Skippy Curtis, you couldn't even see her. She had blocked her defender off the screen. It's also Skippy's birthday. Happy birthday to Skippy. And it's 7-0 Hornets. Fresno, who got pretty much nothing, a 3-and-out on their first offensive set, are going to have to get Cardiac Squid in some good space. Well, this one may end up looking like Florida Rochester from earlier in the evening if you missed that one. I mentioned the home record for Salt Lake. 25-10 over Denver, 41-17 over San Diego, 37-31 a nail-biter over Wichita, 27-20 over Albuquerque, and 16-10 over Phoenix, their 5 home victories. But they are coming off only their second loss of the season, 26-23 to LA in overtime, not down in Los Angeles. Fresno, second chance here from the 25. Second pass for Randolph. He's going to throw underneath, and it's picked off at the 35-yard line.
Wow.
Aaron Willis.
That's a great read. It's a great read. Just playing underneath in the flat. 2 receivers in the same area, and basically Will is just covering both of them at the same time. Both feet inbounds clearly. Actually, his rear and everything inbounds. And Salt Lake already in position to go at least 10-0, if not 14-0.
Sixth interception on the season for Willis, tying him with DeQuavius Locke for the lead on the team. And a great throw across the body of Jay Carter to find Noah Neely and immediately put the Hornets back in the red zone. Not quite in the red zone, my apologies, down at the 25. Handoff, and Allure got ripped down from behind by Cameron Mills.
2nd and 10. This could be a huge stop for Fresno if they can do it. And 10-0 is less daunting than 14-0, that's for sure.
They're gonna get another stop. Allure, 7 for 39 so far, got 2 on that one. And now, 1 stop required to maybe force a field goal out here by the Fresno defense. Carter backs up into the gun, has Allure sidecar right. Takes the snap, 3-man rush. He's gonna float it towards the end zone, and it's incomplete. It was very close. He had a receiver out there, Alexander West.
It was a tough ask for West. That's essentially triple coverage for Fresno. So really good defensive play as Grove able to eventually knock it away from the hands of West. But again, decent stuff from the Bobcats. Salt Lake though has a chance to put 3 more on the board and go 10-0 here in the first half of the first quarter.
This will be a 40-yard attempt. It is good. Victor Ironley on the board for Salt Lake once again, 10-0. And I like to equate football games often to boxing. Fresno got punched in the mouth, and they got punched in the mouth early in the first round. You're in their corner, you're on the sideline. What are you telling especially the offense, to try and get back into this one?
It's basically just, cleaning out those cuts and getting back out there and just to use that, boxing analogy, just fight your fight, essentially, right? Use what is best for you. You don't have to win with an uppercut. Just jab away and try to chip away, get your first couple of first downs, and go from there.
No, not a bad offense by any means, scoring 24 points a game, 12th in the UFL. But, I mean, the Salt Lake rushing defense, second best in the league, holding opponents to 86 rushing yards a game. And when you're Fresno, who gets most of their work done on the ground, 133 yards a game on the ground from Cardiac Squid, you got to find something in that run game. That's the best run of the night for Squid. Only picks up about 4. 3 officially.
Yeah, 2nd and 7, get ahead of the sticks at least. If you can get another positive gain, maybe at least get 3-4 yards, make it a 3rd and short.
Squid in the single back. Salt Lake shows outside pressure. And it forces Randolph into a mistake, delay of game, backs him up 5 yards. And if you're a primary running team, the worst thing you can do is get behind the sticks.
Yeah, 2nd and 12 against a defense as good as Salt Lake. It really is tough. It really is tough. Now you have to change the way you're going to call the 2nd down.
Play action, throw down the seam, great back shoulder completion for Fresno. That's the tight end, Antoine Hurd, for a 1st down.
Really nice throw, really nice protection as well from the offensive line, who's been pushed around, it must be said, here in the first quarter on more plays than not, but on that one really giving the quarterback enough time to deliver the ball, and by far Fresno's best offensive play of the night.
First down of the game for Fresno, first foray into Salt Lake territory now. at the 46-yard line. In the gun, Randolph to throw again. Quick trigger down the seam, caught by Hurd. Second straight catch, close to 20 yards on the pickup down near the 30.
There you go. I mean, Fresno is really starting to find their offense. There's going to be a crossing route and just a mismatch. I mean, there's the front seven guy trying to cover a big tight end, and the safety has to come in and clean it up. But again, finally the Bobcats finding a little bit of rhythm here on offense.
Antoine Hurd, one of the top receivers on this team, averaging 10 catches per game. They hand it off to Squid. He's bounced around like a ball at a pinball machine and gets nothing. James Neely on the stop.
2nd and 10. I think they're going to go back through the air. Looks like man coverage here.
Watch Neely, he's on that far side. They hand it off to Squid on a counter. He's got some room to run, but cannot escape that first tackle made by Don Mariano, 3rd and 5.
So that's field goal range now, at least here for Fresno, so you don't want to lose this momentum.
Look at this formation. Everybody bunched near the line of scrimmage. Over the middle, caught first down, 19-yard line. First catch of the game for Freddie Spencer, wide receiver number 1 on this team, playing only his 5th game of the season with Fresno, was a late season addition to the squad, has close to 200 yards and a touchdown in his 4 previous games.
Yeah, that's a levels concept. You go from high to low, and the intermediate guy was open, good for a first down, a good read for the quarterback.
In the red zone as well for Fresno. This is a nice nerve-settling drive for the Bobcats. Blitz, picked up for a second, but not enough to escape James Neely. He's got a TFL and a sack here in this first quarter.
Yeah, good hustle, and for the quarterback, you have to throw it away. At some point, you just have to, make sure you don't lose a lot of yards, and that was about an 11-yard loss.
Yeah, Squid tried to chip block, and then Jackson Cutter, the left guard, was the backup blocker on that play, just got completely beat by Neely. Now 2nd and 21, they go I formation, bring in the fullback, Jawan Randall, and Squid is not even going to make it back to the line of scrimmage. Now 3rd and 21. I like the medium route passing concepts that Fresno has employed, but on 3rd and 21, you can't really rely on those.
No, I mean, you can't. You have to, at least have a couple guys go deep.
One-on-one, just a little bit overthrown. It was looking for Crawford down the field. And now Fresno going to have to settle for quite a long field goal now for their kicker, Kalen Watkins.
It's going to be almost a 50-yarder, right? It's going to be about a 48-yard field goal attempt from this spot.
DeQuavius Locke was the man to break up that one. 47-yard attempt is good, just snuck it inside the left post. And Fresno is on the board. And while they didn't get a touchdown, I mentioned it during the drive, a nerve-settling drive for Fresno.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, getting your first points sometimes are the hardest ones to get. So, that's what I'm saying. Try to chip away. You cannot win the game in one play. So, at least make it a 7-point game now. Try to get a stop on defense.
I think they haven't been able to do. Salt Lake with a long touchdown drive and a short field goal after a Fresno interception. Keep an eye on Green Gridiron's social media. Presenting soon the next 8 teams in the collaboration with the UFL that will bring all 32 teams to life with full-size helmet replicas. It's just the first way that the UFL is bringing these teams to life. They make it real, and so do all of you. For more info on the amazing products Green Gridiron has to offer, visit greengridiron.com. And you'll also want to lock into the UFL socials, primarily on Instagram. Back to Salt Lake. We've seen a combination of Jay Carter's arm and Chris Allure's legs shine. It'll be Carter's arm, the lefty, slings it out to Allure out of the backfield for 9 on first down.
Yeah, this is what Salt Lake does, so well. They always have second down and short, third down and short. I've called a couple of games from Salt Lake this season, and they're very good on first down.
That's the end of the first quarter. Fresno settled it down a little bit, but it's all Salt Lake early. 10-3 here in the Beehive State. This is the UFL on VFN. Aquilo Ramos Lynn calling all the action for you. Cameron Irvine. Our man behind the curtain. Allure wrapped up and dropped, but not before he picks it up on 2nd and 1. Fast first quarter there, Ramos.
Yeah, a lot of running. We've seen a lot of running, a lot of complete passes, not a whole lot of incompletion so far.
Allure, who averages just under 100 yards a game at 98.4, bounces off a tackle and gets 5. Banks makes the stop there. But if you're a defense like Fresno, allow 5+ yards a carry, that just sets up the rest of the offense for Salt Lake.
Yeah, for sure.
Play action, here's the safety blitz, and it's caught at the 50. Jay Carter took a rocket shot to the back of the head, but still completed the pass for a first down to Hill.
Yeah, really good recognition. I think barely saw it from the corner of his eye and got the ball away, but that was very close.
Jamal Grove came on the blitz. Chris Allure another carry. Gets a few, up to 52 yards now for Allure. Halfway to his season average already, and we're just a minute into the second quarter.
Now and they probably run it here.
They do on the draw, and it gets blown up. Ready for it was Jai Brantley. His first tackle of the game pushes Salt Lake back a couple yards, and they'll face 3rd and 9.
Fresno knew it too. They were expecting that run. Really good block shed, getting the inside position. And the big hit. 3rd down and long. And again, Salt Lake doesn't have a lot of 3rd down and long, so this is where Fresno has to capitalize and make a stop.
What do you got for 3rd and long, Salt Lake? Carter against the blitz, had it batted down at the line of scrimmage. Brooke O'Neal was on her horse, charging from her safety spot to knock that ball away.
Nice play. Just blocking every lane that the quarterback had to throw in those short passes. And again, now Fresno playing really good defensively as well as a good offensive drive last time out.
And that punt goes out of bounds near the 10-yard line. That's something you practice, Ramos.
Sure.
I've being around football a lot more in the last couple of years. I've seen you practice. It's called matching hands. If you're on a blitz, you're on the end of the defensive line. If you see the quarterback start to pull his arm back to pass, put your arm up, match hands, and knock the ball down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the difference between an incomplete pass and potentially a big gain and a touchdown. So, big
Cardiac squid, stutter step in the backfield, can't get away from Joe Malone. Malone and Neely on this defensive line have been terrorizing Fresno early on.
This is a strong unit overall. Defensively, Salt Lake is one of the better teams in the league.
As I mentioned, 2nd in the league against the run. Randolph.
Good route.
Did he make that catch? Yes, he did, near the 21st and 10. And that is where I thought Fresno was the best on that field goal drive in the end of the first quarter, is those short to intermediate drives, mostly to the tight ends.
Yeah, sure.
Bunch formation to the left of Randolph. Again, he goes short to the seams to Denard Bynum for a 7-yard gain.
Yeah, he had a couple of options, actually. He had another guy underneath bottom of the screen. So, those are the routes here for Fresno, looks like.
They'll keep this formation. The defense looks like they're overloaded on this near side of the field. Randolph looks that way and has a man across the middle. Freddie Spencer first down.
It's just those quick outs, hooks, curls. Just keeping everything in front of the linebackers and the safeties.
Fresno goes away from the trips formation this time as a double receiver stack, top of the screen. Randolph in shotgun, Squid to his left. Now he motions Squid out to the far hash. And the motion came too late as they're going to incur their second delay of game of this first half.
It's tough to play on the road too. I mean, you know, those delays of games happen more when you're on the road. You know, and maybe the motion was a little bit late because the back couldn't hear the call. So, you know, that's the benefit that Salt Lake has playing at home.
Now on 1st and 15, play action. Squid stays home to block. A flag flies in the area of holding. The pass is incomplete anyway, and this could be maybe 1st down and 25 here for Fresno. Tequazi Walters called for the hold, and they're pushed all the way back to their 22-yard line. Now they'll hand it off to Squid. Good cut to beat the first man, but not the second. That's 2 yards gained on that one, 2nd and 23.
Yeah, that's not going to do a whole lot. I mean, 2nd and 23. You know, you don't have a lot of plays for, you know, 20-plus yards. Maybe run it, try to chip away.
Another play-action rollout. Randolph strong side has a back shoulder catch by Byam to make this maybe a reasonable 3rd down and 9, especially considering where they just were.
Yeah, it's actually a heck of a play to get 14 yards, and 3rd and 9 is absolutely doable.
Empty set, 2x2 plus the tight end on the right side of the line. It's a blitz. It's thrown to the left, and it's picked off in tight coverage. Luke Patricio, 2nd interception for Salt Lake in the first half. The thing is, Ramos, I don't think it was a bad read by Randolph.
No, it wasn't a bad read, and it's just a couple of offensive guys kind of running in the same area. You know, so I don't think it's a bad read as much as it is probably not a great scheme play. But, you know, kudos to Salt Lake, you know, getting in front of it and getting the interception after allowing 14 yards. And, you know, Fresno had been throwing the ball pretty well in that drive so far up to that point. So really good adjustment here by the Hornets.
And a great call on defense by Salt Lake on that last play. 3 down linemen in the front, but they blitzed both linebackers to force, oh, look out. As I'm trying to break down a previous play, we got a safety sack from O'Neal. And a 7-yard loss.
And we've seen O'Neal actually come on with a blitz a few times. Last time he batted the pass, and now he gets a sack, so Fresno really liking that DB blitz, and it's been from the blind side of the quarterback so far.
Yeah, O'Neal. O'Neal's a strong safety, but often plays almost as a 5th corner in a formation near the line. Another play action, a dart that's right to the chest of the tight end for Salt Lake.
Was that the tackle illegible?
It might have been.
I think that was a tackle illegible on that one.
Matt Ryan, the tackle? No. I can't find who that is on our chart.
It's Bailey. It's number 78. Some good hands for the big guy.
Yeah.
Some good route running, too.
Erases the sack with a 1st down inside the 40. And a great feed out of the backfield to Chris Allure for the touchdown. Quick play, caught Fresno sleeping, and just like that, Salt Lake goes back in front by 2 scores.
Yeah, I mean, so somebody missed an assignment. I mean, there's no way Banks finally kind of just appears in the picture, but I mean, somebody missed the running back coming out of the backfield. Nobody on him. And that is just easy 6 points for Allure and the Hornets.
Little sequence for Fresno. The pick into the sack, and you think you get a stop. Then the big catch by the left tackle who is reported as eligible. to set up that touchdown by Chris Allure. Only his second receiving TD of the season. And for all the good work Fresno has done over the last 5 or so minutes, they're back staring down the bottom of the barrel at 17-3.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, Fresno at one point looked like they were finally trying to get some momentum going. You know, they get 3 points, they get a stop on defense, and all of a sudden they, you know, get a pass intercepted and allow another touchdown, and, you know, seemingly we are back to square one.
Out to the 31 for Fresno. I want to bring in Cameron Irvine to talk about that tackle reporting as eligible play. That's one I don't think I've seen in the broadcasts I've done this year, Cam.
Yeah, that's a tackle actually playing the third tight end spot because Salt Lake doesn't have 3 tight ends on their roster. We saw this with Miami earlier this week where they're running a bunch of 3 tight end sets and they don't have 3 tight ends, and Miami actually chose to eliminate that on their in their adjustments this week. So Salt Lake using a little trickery with that backup right tackle. That's actually his second catch this season. He had one to seal a game earlier this season for Salt Lake. So some of the oddities with UFL rosters is we still kind of work through what we got or what we inherited by default as we try to get bodies on these teams. But pretty crazy that the right tackle playing tight end now has 2 catches for the Hornets this season.
Thank you, Cam. 2 runs for a combined 5 yards for Cardiac Squid. Sets up a 3rd and 5, and it might go from bad to worse for Fresno if they can't pick this up. Need the 40-yard line for a first down, and it's almost picked again. He had Denard Byam wide open, and Randolph overthrew him.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the wrong cut by the receiver or just an errant throw. I mean, probably a little bit of both, to be fair. I mean, that was just thrown straight to the defender. And lucky Fresno is that wasn't a pick 6.
Second 3 and out of the game for Fresno. Their first since the opening drive of the contest. And Salt Lake, who scored on all but one of their drives so far, might have to go the length of the field. What a great punt.
Jeez.
The punt by Boyd, the coverage by Grove. And Salt Lake is backed up inside their own 5.
Well, we'll see if Fresno can again put some pressure. They've been sending blitzes even from defensive back. So, you know, it just takes one play right here when you're in that type of position on the field. It just takes one play from the defense to try to, you know, probably get a safety.
You saw the highlights from Salt Lake from this first half. They've been doing it in every way. Big plays, small plays, chipping away. Defense has 2 turnovers. Allure on the draw gets thrown backwards by Brandon Blake. And it's 2nd and 9.
Fresno also has to be careful, you know, that they don't get beat with a deep pass. I know they're using like 2-3 tight ends and everything, but anytime Salt Lake can throw the ball deep.
They throw it over the middle there, and it's caught right on the hash marks for a first down to get them out of the shadow of their own goalposts. Jay Carter, 7 of 9 in the first half. Very efficient.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's been playing really well this game and all season long in general. I mean, he's a big reason why Salt Lake is as good as they are, and running game, again, not, you know, top 3 or anything in the league, but they're serviceable, and the passing game is very good.
And in a league, as we hit the 2-minute warning, where we have seen quarterbacks be very ineffective. I'm looking earlier today, Matt Wilson was very inefficient. Wichita, very inefficient in the pass game as well. That can cost you games, and even if you're not throwing the ball a ton, if you're efficient like Carter and his receivers have been, as that one goes for 9 yards on first down, you can win games that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They are a clear example of it. 1:44 left here in the second quarter. With 3 timeouts, that's enough time to at least get in field goal range for sure.
Second and 1, Salt Lake, short pass over the middle and running free. I believe that was Lucas Doty, the backup fullback on the late crosser.
Yeah, and I cannot believe that he wasn't actually ruled out of bounds. The clock keeps ticking. I think it was pretty clear that he got pushed out of bounds. Probably they're calling forward progress.
Fresno has gotten up for the big games this season. They're 3-0 against teams with a winning record. And they're 3-5 against teams coming in with a losing record. Of course, it's very different to read a stat about that and then go play the top team in the Western Conference. Great tackle on the outside on first down by Fresno. 2nd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, really good tackle and not a good decision by the quarterback. I mean, 1 yard doesn't do you any good. You know, it's better just to throw it out of bounds or, you know, try to go deeper than that.
Lots of shuffling around on defense. Look at the one-on-one matchup on the far up or side of the screen, and he tried to hit the fullback on a crosser again, did Carter, and that one falls harmlessly at his feet. 3rd and 9.
3rd down and 9. Well, I don't think Fresno's
one-on-one
position.
We got 2 one-on-one matchups at the bottom of the screen. They'll run a draw, and it is close, but not quite, just past the 50 for a lure.
Salt Lake go for it.
Gutsy call on 3rd and 9 for that draw play. Uche Stewart just stopped him short. All right, at the end of the first half, a chance to put Fresno away, and we will just take this one to the half with a punt for Salt Lake. That one's in the air, 0-0 on the clock, out of the back of the end zone, and we go to the end of the half. Salt Lake dominating 17-3 outside from that one long Fresno drive. Their offense has not been great. Cardiac Squid has been bottled up, and they haven't gone to what has worked enough, which is that short to medium passing game. Just 82 passing yards for Fresno on the night.
Yeah, I mean, outside of a couple of minutes in which, you know, Fresno was able to get a stop on that blitz and the pass deflection, got 3 points. I mean, outside of that, Salt Lake has been in control. You know, they played really good offensively, defensively. They've gotten the takeaways that they've needed. And, you know, again, nothing extremely flashy, but they're playing their ball game and they're winning by 14 points.
On the Salt Lake side, they've done just a little bit of everything well. The running game is great. The passing game is great. Chris Allure has 2 touchdowns, 1 through the air, 1 on the ground. We'll take 10-second station ID. This is the UFL on the Virtual Football Network.
This presentation of the UFL is intended for the private use of our audience. Any accounts or descriptions of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Half action underway from Salt Lake City, the Beehive State. The Salt Lake Hornets are making Fresno feel the sting, up 17-3. I'm Michael Torillo, Ramos Lynn alongside me. In commentary, Cameron Irvine producing this evening as we look at the updated numbers for Chris Allure. Your thoughts on Salt Lake's first half?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, you know, nothing super flashy, but they've been playing really well. Defensively, they've gotten the takeaways that they've needed. They have not forced any ball to any defenders, so they're doing a good job.
Great pass. Backside of the field off a rollout. And a big chunk of yards for Alexander West. First play from scrimmage of the second half, already into plus territory.
Yeah, and then this is exactly what they've been able to do. Find the open receiver, up to 170 yards passing here in essentially what it is the first half, you know, in one play. So the offensive line has also given good protection to the quarterback.
Our run here with the fullback in, but Chris Allure can't get away. The defense checked that. That was Lakeem Hopkins, only his second carry of the evening, but over 250 total yards already for Salt Lake. And they've turned it into 17 points and counting here at the start of the third. Allure. The offensive line went out to lunch, and the defense takes full advantage. Isaiah Catledge on the tackle for loss.
3rd down and 7 here for Salt Lake. They need to put pressure on him. Fresno does. They need to send in somebody else in a blitz that they've been doing and try to, if not get the sack, at least force an errant throw, or again put your hands up and try to deflect a ball.
Fresno only got 2 stops in that first half, and one of them was right at the end of the half. They bring extra pressure, one-on-one coverage. Great defense by Brooke O'Neal. She has been everywhere on defense for Fresno so far tonight and forces a 4th down there.
And she's been the best defender for Fresno tonight, that is for sure. On the blitzes and now in coverage, almost getting a pick and perhaps a pick 6. Strong start here for the Bobcats.
Houston Myers going to punt it from just on his side of midfield. That one's going to bounce just outside the 5. What a great punt down inside the 5.
Basically the same scenario, but now flipped. Now it's Fresno backed up inside their own 5-yard line.
Take a look at the playoff picture in the West. The Hornets 9-2. Hanging on over the Devils at 9-3. They do hold the tiebreaker over the Devils, but they will play again in the final week of the regular season, which could be a straight shootout for the division lead. Don't count out the Aztecs sitting there at 8-3 as well. Handoff to Cardiac Squid. He only had 28 yards in the first half. 25, after that carry. So 28 total rushing yards for the Bobcats in that first half.
Yeah.
And as a team in Fresno that averages 133 on the ground a game, that's not where you want to be. Again, that short to medium passing game working for Fresno. Dillard Byam, he picks up a 1st down, gets them out of the shadow of their own end zone.
Good job right there. Good protection, finding their open receiver up the seam. Nobody with him. The linebacker just too late on the play. Looks like they're playing some type of boundary defense, and then in the middle of the field was wide open.
I almost thought they brought a blitz there, but counting the bodies in the box, they didn't. They just expected the ball to go to the edge, but it went right down the middle to Denard Byam. Squid. It feels like he's one broken tackle or one move away from breaking off a big run, but the first Salt Lake defender to the ball is wrapping him up every single time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If he breaks that first tackle, probably he's gone for at least 15, 20 yards.
Play action, roll out, down the numbers, caught on a comebacker. It's Byam again. 1st down, Fresno.
It's a good route, good timing on that one. Getting a 1st down, and Fresno can get a touchdown on the board. It's a 7-point game. The Bobcats have to be pretty happy with where they will be at that point.
Still a long way to go to get there. Randolph in the pocket, pressure coming, and down he goes. Joe Malone has a sack, his 3rd tackle of the game, and an 8-yard loss.
Actually, no blitz or anything. It's just a 4-man rush, and the edges contain, and then the inside comes with the pressure and the eventual sack. Everything open, covered down the field. There's just nobody to throw it to.
Pure coverage sack that time. Great job by the secondary to spring Malone free, and now a 2nd down and 18. Fresno got a lot of work out of this bunch formation in the first half. They go back to it here to the far side, caught near the original line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 13. There's not a whole bunch of plays in the playbook for 3rd and 10 plus. That was the 3rd time tonight Fresno's gone backwards on 1st down. Can they recover? Here comes the blitz. It's picked up for now. Going deep. Intercepted again on the sideline. DeMichael Crawford was open, but Randolph underthrew him. And for the 3rd time tonight, Salt Lake has a pick.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the Hornets have been able to do in this game. You know, when they've needed a defensive play, they've gotten it. And that is just well underthrown. I mean, that had no chance.
Devontae Aker with the interception. Salt Lake 3 picks tonight. Would move them to second in the league in interceptions behind Los Angeles' 19. They would have 18 on the year as a defense. Little rub route concept doesn't go for much as the tackle is made from behind by Brandon Vincent.
Down to 9. Team Fresno doing their best defensively to keep their offense in the game.
Larry Randolph's coming in mid-season to replace the Fresno quarterback, and that's a nice pass right down the middle between the hashes. Complete to Alexander West, has now thrown 6 interceptions in 3 games, 3 of them tonight.
And those play action passes have worked so well for Salt Lake. You know, they have a great, they have some great timing on those routes.
And it feels like Fresno, they've been hanging around, but like the offense has not been able to cash in on the opportunities the defense has provided them. And now Salt Lake a chance to really turn the screws with a 3-score lead. Backup running back Lakeem Hopkins bounces off a tackle for 2 yards.
You know, and again, now it's been, as of late at least, it's been like Fresno has done a pretty good job on first down, but then Salt Lake is trying, you know, finding a way on those play action passes or just some, you know, improvisation from the quarterback.
Carter rips it.
Incomplete.
An incomplete. Catledge on the coverage.
Let's go.
3rd and 8, another chance for Fresno to get a stop, but Salt Lake has been excellent on 3rd down here today. Only 3 failed 3rd down conversions. They go underneath. The Lure can't get enough. That's the 4th failed 3rd down conversion for Salt Lake on the night. Fresno is going to get the ball back with under 5 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, another opportunity now for the Fresno offense. And the way, you know, the Bobcats have been turning the football over, I mean, this could be much worse than what it is. You know, when you lose the turnover battle by, you know, 2, 3, you know, exponentially you just missed out on the opportunity of winning most games. You know, this could be easily a 3-4 touchdown game by now.
But the big pass to West in the middle of that drive means it might be tough field position for Fresno depending on where that ball went out of bounds. Did it stay inside the pylon or is it out inside the 5? No, it's going to come out to the 20-yard line. Week 13 in the UFL continues Saturday night here in the Virtual Football Network. A major showdown in Milwaukee as the Stags, a 6-5 record, now atop the Great Lakes Division, battle the 8-3 San Diego Wildcats. There's a pitch to Squid looking for a block. Didn't really get one and run out of bounds after a gain of 5. The Wildcats are looking to keep hold of their slim Pacific Division lead. Game night includes Cleveland and New Orleans, Minnesota and Austin, and Montana and Dakota, all kicking off at 7 p.m. Eastern. The USL lives here on the Virtual Football Network. Squid barreled over. All the gaps closing immediately. 3rd down and 3. Glover with a big hit.
It's 3rd down and 3 bunch formation. Let's see if they do another one of those curls. And it's all stops.
3rd and 3. Here comes the blitz. They go for a one-on-one jump battle, and it's incomplete. Oh boy, Denard Byam incensed. Wanted a flag, none forthcoming. It's going to be just no first downs on the possession for Fresno.
Good job by Willis. I mean, just shielding the receiver. Good position on the ball, breaks it. And, I mean, that's been the secondary for the Hornets, especially on 3rd down all night long.
Another punt by Fresno's Max Boyd. Decent field position for the Hornets near their own 25-yard line. Man, Fresno just cannot get anything done. And unlike on one of the interceptions thrown by Randolph where I liked the call. I just didn't like the throw. I didn't like that call. They had 3 receivers to the far side of the formation. You chose to do the 1-on-2 matchup on the near side.
Yeah.
Carter underneath to the 30. 7-yard pickup right there to Noah Neely. Haven't heard from DJ Barker, wide receiver 2 on the depth chart. Doesn't have a catch tonight. Neely and West doing all the catching for the Hornets.
Mm-hmm. And it's been West mainly when they go on those play action passes. And it's play action and then get the ball to West. Has been some of the most successful plays for the Hornets so far tonight.
Ready, ready. 10 Lobos.
There you see the top of the screen, only 145 total yards for Fresno. Salt Lake merging on 300, and they might get it here with a big run for Allure. Kind of been quiet in this second half until now.
Don't let Salt Lake, get going on the ground. I mean, it's hard enough to stop it on the air. Now, if they can move the ball on the ground and the air, I mean, it's just almost impossible to win and beat the Hornets, especially on the road.
Here we go. 8, read.
Allure, who's averaging just under 100 yards per game on the ground, going to get another carry run behind the fullback, and he's wrapped down from behind by Augustine. 2nd down and 4, still a 6-yard run. Over 100 rushing yards for Salt Lake City. And it looks like a jump from somebody. It's going to be a false start for the Hornets. Pushes them back and negating that 1st down run by Allure. Now 2nd and 9. Allure off the outside handoff, gets right to midfield as we get under a minute and a half to go here in the 3rd.
Yeah, and Salt Lake is understanding the assignment, not throwing the ball into double, triple coverage, nothing like that. They know the defense is going to play well and just don't have to.
3rd down, wide open in the middle. Did he get a first? It's going to be close, and he got it. Allure out of the backfield, picked it up.
Barely. I was just saying, just don't give the ball to the other team. It's kind of like the name of the game here for the Hornets.
Man, Melquan Walls, the defender for Fresno, got that one completely wrong. Missed his assignment, missed Allure out of the backfield. He was in a ton of space and was able to pick up that 1st down. They'll go to him again on the far sideline. Now they're trusting Allure out of the backfield as a pass catcher. He doesn't do a ton of that as a receiver, Allure, averaging just 1.3 receptions per game.
I think it was really incomplete.
Oh, might have been really, or no gain. 2nd down and 10. The escape valve on the far side is hit as the pocket collapses around Carter. It's Adam West, 1st down, as the tight end rumbles for some yak yards.
Yeah, you should take it just to the end of the 3rd quarter from here. No need to snap the ball again.
All Salt Lake. Nobody scored in the 3rd quarter, but still 17-3. The Hornets lead, looking to remain undefeated. Here at home, we go to the 4th quarter. All Salt Lake over the visiting Fresno Bobcats here on the Virtual Football Network. Michael Cervello and Ramos Lynn welcoming you back in for the final quarter of action. A Salt Lake touchdown here may as well slam the door. And Chris Allure wants to get it immediately, and it's a Brooke O'Neal tackle that saves a touchdown on the 1st play of the 4th quarter.
You have the feeling, Mike, that, 1 touchdown for Salt Lake. I mean, the game is not over, but, I mean, at least, paper Salt Lake is now, feeling really, really comfortable and just kind of cruising through the rest of the game.
You can see on the sideline, it's been a tough day for Larry Randolph. 3 picks, no touchdowns. Only 1 red zone trip for Fresno. Oh, Allure! Like a hot knife through butter through the first 2 levels of the defense.
I'm telling you, every defensive lineman got pushed back like 5 yards.
That's again on that offensive line, featuring the likes of Mia Pangori and Skippy Curtis. Salt Lake punched it in with a lure on a run last time they were down inside the 5. That was all the way back in the first quarter. They hand it off to the backup Hopkins. Can't get it in. Maybe just setting it up for a lure. Second and goal from the 1.
Yeah, no, just do it again. The offensive line is cooking right now. Just give it the ball to your back again.
Watch the center. Skippy Curtis. They're going to throw. Touchdown, Salt Lake. Oh, Chris Allura must be feeling like, hey, man, give me the ball. It doesn't matter because Noah Neely is kneeling in the end zone for a touchdown.
Hey, one-on-one coverage, not good enough. I mean, when you have no immediate penetration on the quarterback, I mean, somebody's going to get open. Somebody's going to get open.
That just may be the nail in the coffin, even with 10 minutes to go. I mean, the game is not over. And, of course, last time I was on a UFL broadcast, they called the biggest comeback in UFL history. But that started at halftime, not with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter down 3 scores.
Yeah, no, it's a tough task. It's a tough order here for Fresno, who, you know, at points in the game, especially on defense, they played pretty well, but, you know, Salt Lake has demonstrated they've been the better team, and they've been the better team all season.
Hugo numbers at the bottom of the screen. Of course, we got another 1-yard touchdown that time, so no new yardage number. It's got to happen now, or it may never happen for Fresno. And they're staring down the barrel of 2 straight goose eggs on Primetime. They played Austin a couple weeks ago in this slot. Lost 37-22. The final score really made the Bobcats look good. The Lone Stars ran them out of the building early down there in Texas. 2 straight home games, the last 2 home games of the season for the Bobcats coming up next as they'll take on LA and Vegas. Talk about a 3-game road of hell as Randolph steps back to throw and fires it incomplete near the sideline for Byam. You got the top 3 teams in the West pretty much back to back to back. Salt Lake, LA, and Vegas. At least you got 2 of them at home.
Yeah, no, it's brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Randolph, pocket collapsing, gets the pass away to the check down option, Javon Muhammad. Now 3rd and 5. Fresno will close the season with 2 on the road at New Orleans and at San Diego. The Wildcats still in with some decent playoff chances as well. Randolph on 3rd and 5, throwing the comeback route, and it's knocked away. It was into the chest of Freddie Spencer, but a great job defensively by Jan Lopez to knock that one down, and another 3 and out for Fresno.
Yeah, I mean, you may as well, I guess, go for it maybe. I mean, you're down 3 touchdowns.
I don't think they will. They will. Here we go. 4th down and 5 of their own 30. Fresno head coach Parker Davis rolling the dice. Randolph throws. It's incomplete. Oh, I thought he had it. Antoine Hurd will be kicking himself. He had the ball in his hand and just straight up dropped it.
Well, yeah, he got crushed as he was trying to bring the football to his chest, as we're going to likely see on the replay here. Tries to bring the ball to his chest and just gets absolutely destroyed in the ribs.
Don Mariano, I think, made the hit. As Carter comes back out to put the finishing touches on this one. 223, 18 of 24, 2 touchdowns for Carter. A really efficient night at home as Salt Lake takes over at the Fresno 30. They'll go play action, looking for the throw on 1st down. Carter's going to take off, run towards the sideline, look for a block. He gets it, still scampering and tiptoeing down the line, and finally forced out of bounds.
I mean, everything now working here for Salt Lake, so why not protecting the football, getting to the outside and getting a couple of blocks.
On the bottom of the screen, you see the scores from earlier today.
Ready. 10 logos.
Florida over Rochester, St. Louis over Wichita, overtime. Miami over Charlotte. Charlotte came back to force overtime, couldn't get the job done. Carter from the 20, fumble the ball, and it's picked up by Salt Lake's offensive line. Mia Pangori saves the day.
You know, when you're an offensive line, if you get the ball, just go down.
Looked like
Good awareness,
Pangori,
though.
for a second, had eyes on the end zone. My time to shine. I never touched the ball. Let's go. But that's Miami-Charlotte game, a big one out east. But I talked about the schedule for Charlotte. Let's take a look at the schedule for Salt Lake coming down the stretch. They've got a tough one next week as they go at Los Angeles. Around the edge goes Allure for a couple yards. No, check that. Next week they're home again against New Orleans. Then they last two road games of the season at San Jose and at Albuquerque. And they'll close off here in this building against the Vegas Devils, who sit just a half game back of Salt Lake in the division. At 9-3. It hasn't been a great day for Lakeem Hopkins. Every time he touches the ball, it seems like he's getting crushed.
Yeah.
Setting up for this field goal here will be 36 yards. Right through there by Iron Leg. He's perfect on the night. 27-3. Salt Lake.
And it's been a great game here for the Hornets. Exactly what they needed to do, right? I mean, they got 3 takeaways. They got a forced stop on 4th down. No giveaways. They've been able to convert on those takeaways too. We've seen touchdowns, we've seen field goals, and just taking care of business here at home against a good Fresno team. A Fresno team that have been kingslayers so far this season. They've been beating some really good teams this year, so. It's a quality win here for Salt Lake for sure.
The consistency for Fresno hasn't been there, and they've had some personnel off the field personnel things as well happen to Fresno. Can't keep a roster together consistently, and that has really showed, I think, in this game, especially on offense. Please like and comment on this video to help the UFL reach more people as it rounds the back 9 of the regular season. The race for the playoffs is about to heat up. We want everyone to see what we're building. Thanks for all your continued support of the inaugural UFL season. 375 total yards to Fresno's 150. Just 35 rushing yards for Fresno. Of course, as this game has gotten further and further out of hand, they've had to go to the run less and less. But even so, holding a team that averages 133 yards per game on the ground to just 35. Very impressive for Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Randolph over the middle this time. Finally, a receiver hangs onto the ball. Freddie Spencer picks up the first down of the 4th quarter for the Bobcats. 42 yards on 5 catches for Spencer. No huddle has begun under 8 minutes here for the Bobcats. Will dump off to Squid out of the backfield. I believe that's his first catch of the game. 2nd down and 4. For UFL schedules, standings, stats, rankings, and more, visit the league website at ufl.football. That's YOUFL.football and claim your player today. You can help your favorite team succeed too by just being a fan. That one out of bounds, maybe plus an added face mask on Salt Lake. That's their first real bad penalty of the night. I had a stat about Fresno penalty. Yeah, Fresno has 3 penalties tonight. They have just 7 in their first 10 games. They are the fewest penalized team in the UFL. Maybe finally putting together a drive here in the dying embers of this contest. Randolph, pressure breaks down, just it refuses to get rid of the football, and another big sack We've had a 7-yard sack, an 8-yard sack, now a 10-yard sack. Patricio gets a big tackle for loss for the Hornets. Now 2nd down and 20. Randolph again sitting in the pocket against the 3-man rush to the sideline. It looks like that might be incomplete. It is, just overthrew by him.
Just out of bounds. You know, now, I mean, in this position, you know, you got to throw the ball a couple times deep, maybe towards the end zone.
3rd and 20. They go deep. It's incomplete. Benzer had it on a jump at the 20, but a nice hit by the Salt Lake secondary knocked that ball away. And another 4th and long.
Another shot to the rib cage to one of these receivers.
Yeah, before he could even put a foot on the ground, Spencer was jarred the other direction. And on 4th and 20, Fresno keeps the offense on the field. They say, why not? It's 27-3. They go for it all, and it's intercepted for a 4th time. That one may be the best pick of the night. A leaping beauty by Patricio, his 2nd interception of the ball game.
That's, you know, just textbook coverage. I mean, just getting inside position and, you know, step by step, ran the route for the receiver.
4 interceptions for Fresno. Salt Lake hasn't turned the ball over tonight. It's something that we haven't had to highlight, but it's a really big part of why they've dominated, specifically the second half.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is just the 10th time in the UFL this season a quarterback has thrown for 4 picks. You know, nobody has thrown more than 4, but now Fresno with 4 INTs against them.
And the backups are in for Salt Lake. As a nice run by Lakeem Hopkins. I want to bring Cam in here to talk about the earlier block of games, because we had some good ones. There were 2 blowouts, but 2 meaningful blowouts, and also another overtime thriller.
Probably with my blue light glasses on. You gotta look at the old man Cam trying to stay healthy out here. And it was incredible. You never know. You know, Salt Lake took care of business tonight, but a lot of teams at the top of the standings have been losing recently. Vegas lost earlier this week. We had Miami was challenged tonight. I'm trying to recall. Dallas was the one that fell to Albuquerque earlier this week. So you just never know where it's going to come from. But man, Miami going up 3 games on the division with 4 to go. That was probably the highlight of the night.
Yeah, and on this game tonight, right, you mentioned Salt Lake taking care of business, undefeated at home, haven't really had a home win this dominant since maybe the opening home game of the season against Montana. They won it 37-6.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Wow, nice run, Allure. I think you hit it on the head, Torillo, when you were talking about Fresno just not being able to keep a roster together this season. Credit to Brooke O'Neal trying to help turn this team around earlier this week, but you know, Fresno's up against it. You got teams like New York and Los Angeles and Salt Lake and St. Louis, and I could mention many others around the league that are really, you know, firing on all cylinders from a roster perspective. And you know, kudos to you, Torillo, for not rubbing in that Florida win in Ramos's face. You could have done it all night.
Now
long,
you mentioned it.
but you know,
Wasn't going to mention it. Cam brings it up on air. I want to get your final thoughts, Cam, about the games coming up on Saturday. Our final block of games before the convention pause here in the UFL. I mean, a good one on top of the Great Lakes division is Milwaukee. Now it wins that division, but they got a tough team coming in San Diego. Yeah, that's huge. The 8-3 Cats playing, needing to keep pace with Los Angeles. Milwaukee trying not to fall back the pack. If the Stags lose, Motor City, Cincinnati, and Milwaukee will all be 6-6 in the Great Lakes division. Looks like Fresno's going to get the ball back here, but yeah, that's a monster game. The slate's pretty good. Even a game like Cleveland and New Orleans. Cleveland just beat Rochester. They've got new life at quarterback as well. And New Orleans has been playing some good football too. They're right in the mix, so you never know, man. All these games have been competitive. Although tonight, few snoozers around the league, surprisingly. And of course, Dakota playing Montana, their first game after pulling off the biggest reverse sweep in UFL history, beating Phoenix last week. Larry Randolph coming back out, 50%, 14 of 28 in passing tonight for Larry Randolph with no picks. Or sorry, with 4 picks, no touchdowns. That's a tiptoe catch by Javon Muhammad, and even though Muhammad brought that in, it's not a great pass, way over his head, had to leap over the shoulder and get it.
Yeah. And we've seen a few of those.
Randolph almost threw another pick behind the intended receiver on a deep post. Mariano in coverage there. And I think the big thing that Fresno's going to have to work on this week, and maybe every week for the rest of the season, is just Randolph's communication with his receivers. He's only playing his 4th game with the squad.
Yeah.
He'll throw it on 3rd and 2, pick up a first down and a whole lot more down the seams, and they haven't done enough of that. When they had that one good drive in the first quarter almost, they were making use of bunch formations and confusing routes and really trying to get guys in the middle open, and they just haven't done enough of that.
No, they really haven't.
Check down, middle. Muhammad makes the catch. We've really only seen that bunch set once after the first quarter.
Yeah, exactly. To your point, that bunch set, that overfloods, one side of the field, and the defense can get confused. It's all gone now.
2-minute warning. It's all Salt Lake. It's 27-3 as the Hornets are going to improve to 6-0 at home and be 10-2 overall, planning a vice grip on this Western Conference. Randolph had some of those quarterback stats now over 200 yards. St. Louis won big over Wichita earlier today to remain the other only home unbeaten in the league. They're 6-0 at home. Salt Lake after tonight's going to be 6-0 at home. We see the East playoff picture at the bottom. Rivermen 9-3, Pirates 8-4. The Pios took a loss today, still leading their division at 7-5. But the Lightning ready to pounce, and the Pioneers and the Lightning face off coming up. That's going to be a big one in the battle for New York. To the near sideline, tiptoeing and making the catches to Michael Crawford for Fresno. This is first reception of the game, goes for 15 yards.
Going back to that Pioneers game, the Lightning trying to get revenge on the Pioneers, as the Rochester Pioneers were able to win the first game early in the season, so that's going to be a good one.
And that's a 2-horse race for that Metro Division, right, with Washington and Cleveland both well out of it.
Yeah.
But both Rochester and New York at 7-5 going into that matchup.
Yeah.
Randolph goes underneath, completes to Byam. 229 yards, but the 4 interceptions really glaring for Larry Randolph today. And they just haven't even had an opportunity. They've been inside the red zone once, and they kicked a field goal. A chance to get back into the red zone. They will do it here with a first down to the 15-yard line. Pass caught by Muhammad. A couple of guys that haven't caught passes at all before the drive. Javon Muhammad and Michael Crawford both making catches on this series. Randolph throwing it back to Muhammad, who spins down inside the 10.
Let's see if Fresno can get a touchdown before the game is over. Still fighting out there. That's a good sign.
And I mean, you kind of use these blowout games as extended practice. Whoa! I think that one slipped out of Randolph's hands and went the completely wrong direction. 3rd down and 2 now. But yeah, you can pretty much use these games as practice. Try and get some guys involved that don't often see the field, like Muhammad and Crawford. Try and practice some of these sets you haven't been able to run and just kind of make your way to the next game. I mean, that one over the shoulder, close to a first down for Rashawn Saints, another guy who hasn't had a catch before that, and he does pick up a first down. 1st and goal now.
Yeah, they're going to get maybe a couple more chances to go to the end zone. Good catch by Saint. Able to actually be patient enough to get the completion and get the first down.
Nice look on the pylon cam. Ooh, that was close. If it wasn't such a blowout, maybe a chance for a challenge there for Salt Lake. I'm not sure he got that second foot down before the first one slid out of bounds. But in a 27-3 game with 8 seconds left, I don't think they're going to do that. Randolph, look at end zone, incomplete. They're going to get one more shot at it with 4 seconds left in the contest. Remember to come back on Saturday night. We've got Cleveland, New Orleans, Montana, Dakota, Minnesota, Austin in game night, and Milwaukee and San Diego in prime time for the convention break here in the UFL. Last play of the game, Randolph, can they put it in the end zone? They can, with 0-0s on the clock. Fresno gets into the end zone. It's another player that hasn't made a catch before now. Sean Boyd, the 5th wide receiver on the depth chart. It is Sean Boyd, who gets into the end zone for a touchdown. And Fresno can hang their hats on a decent last drive here at the end of the game. First catch of the season for Sean Boyd there. They're going to go for 2 with 0-0s on the clock, trying to get up to 11 points. Randolph will throw, and he will complete to JaMychal Crawford, his second catch of the game. And that's the end. The coaches will shake hands, and Salt Lake wraps up a dominating performance here in the Beehive State tonight. They remain unbeaten at home. Chris Allers, your player of the game, 123 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Also had a touchdown through the air. Ramos, your thoughts on a dominant win for the players in black and yellow tonight?
Yeah, pretty much that. Dominant win. It never looked really that the Hornets lead was in any trouble, especially when we got to the second half and, they were starting to force those takeaways. Salt Lake played really good. Offensive line was tremendous for the Hornets. And when you can control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, you're going to win most games. Combine that, parlay that with 4 takeaways against none from Fresno. Then the Bobcats were just behind the 8 ball all night long. And this is just a continuation of what has made Salt Lake so good this year.
Salt Lake, a ridiculous defensive performance. 4.6 yards per play for the Fresno Bobcats tonight. 35 rushing yards from a guy in Cardiac Squid who, coming into the game, was the top rusher in the league. And nobody had more yards than Cardiac Squid, and he got knocked down a peg big time tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And it's been a couple games for Cardiac Squid also that he's being bottled up. So it looks like defenses are also catching up to what Fresno likes to do in the rushing attack. And, Salt Lake able to, get their scouting on and execute out there.
We'll do it. Salt Lake wins it big here tonight, 27-11 over the Fresno Bobcats. Salt Lake goes to 10-2. Fresno drops to 6-6. Their playoff chances disappearing into the distance. For Cameron Irvine behind the scenes and Ramos Lynn in the booth with me, my name is Michael Torello. Thank you for tuning in to UFL Primetime. We'll see you on Saturday for more UFL action. Adios.